What's up, pro builders? Do you ever see like a really cool build on the forums or the DDO Discord? Or maybe see a GIF of a really high DPS student and think to yourself, I can emulate that. Well, I think that all the time, and it turns out that it is not as easy as just copying the build split. But in saying that, I've got a build here which I thought was pretty good. I've tried to copy it, and I'm going to try to share it with the masses because maybe someone can make it better than I can. So it's 11 Barbarian, 8 Druid, 1 Favored Soul. And you might think to yourself, well, what on earth, what the fuck is this? And I thought the same thing. But basically 11 Barbarian gives Greater Rage, 8 Druid gives Wolf or something, and the 1 level of Favored Soul gives Divine Might, 4 Charisma to hit and damage basically. So when you get into the build, I've gone Razor Claw Shifter because it's iconic and I just couldn't be bothered leveling from level 1. So I've gone Razor Claw Shifter, which was level Barbarian there. You basically max your strength, max your con, and then put a little bit in charisma or intelligence. The reason you go into intelligence is for more skill points. If you are doing this on like a first life tune, just go like 16 strength, fucking 14 con, and 10 of all the other ones basically. And skills, I balance haggle because I love to haggle for wings on a TR, and intimidate, a bit of jump. Probably not jump actually, don't get jump. But UMD and balance are your big things. Anything else you're into, you can probably put some skill points into. You get about 3 to 5 per level. Now, for feats here, it's pretty obvious, but also I'm going to show some things that I did wrong, so you know what you should not do rather. Natural fighting is the big one. You take that for when you're in the wolf or bear form. It gives you your melee power, your double strike, and if you're a bear, it gives you some strike through, and also if you are a bear, it gives you the 3 times ability score modified to damage, which is huge, basically. I've took... Don't laugh too much, guys. I've taken two-handed fighting and improved two-handed fighting. Now, don't do this, alright? Just take toughness. The reason I did this was because I thought leveling up with more strike through from Angry Arms and Mad Munitions would be really helpful. But it's basically 40% strike through for fucking, I don't know, 2 feats. Pretty bad. It may have helped me leveling a little bit, I don't know. But the reason being, to take Angry Arms, you need two-handed fighting, and to take the Mad Munitions, you need greater two-handed fighting, right? So that's just something I did, which is completely wrong, but still, the build is effective. I promise it'll work for you, alright? So just take toughness and natural fighting, basically. Deity, doesn't fucking matter pretty much. Druid feats, you want to take the Winter Wolf when you get the chance to. Your martial feats, all obvious ones. You need your improved critical. You need your power attack. Don't take precision, because you can't do it while raged. I understand precision is great for getting crits, and if you're running in the frenzy tree, it keeps your adrenalines maxed out pretty much. But for this build, you need to run in power attack. As you can see, that I've also taken weapon focus slashing. More hit is great, and a little bit of melee power there. Racial feats, not important. Uncanny dodge, spellcasting feats, whatever, it's not important. So as you can see, it's pretty much just toughness, natural fighting, basically. Barbarian feats are all there, they get granted. Whatever past lives you have, great. If you don't have any, don't stress. Let's move on to the spells. Basically all I use, to be completely honest with you, is Ram's Might. And there's a couple of strikes in here. There's 2 strikes that work for the wolf and 2 strikes that work for the bear. And there's also Rising Fury, which works for the bear, depending on what you're running in. Mostly when I was leveling, I was in the bear a lot for strike through, and now that I'm level 30, I just want to do raids and that kind of content, so I'm mostly in wolf for the single target DPS. Now, I think that's the flexibility of this build, is that if you need to be running quests and clearing packs of mobs, you can run in the bear to be hitting 2 or 3 mobs at once to clear them. And if you're doing raids, you've got the wolf, which gives a 20% combat style bonus to your attack speed. That's a lot. Like, every 5 attacks a bear does, I guess the wolf does 6 kind of thing. Something like that. Also has some sneak attack damage and fucking +5 bonus to attack while flanking. That's pretty cool. So, moving on to enhancements. As I said before, I wanted the strike through when I was leveling. So, all builds probably change from level 1 to level 30, obviously, but even at level 20 and level 30, you might have different enhancement setups depending on what you're doing, right? Because you're probably questing when you're level 20 to get to 30, and you want to be able to clear trash faster. So maybe this exact setup is not perfect for leveling, but it's probably what I like best for what I'm running, which is mostly raids. And again, there's going to be people out there that are better than me that will have a better setup for this and probably be able to squeeze more melee power or damage out of it. So if you are one of those people, please abuse me in the comments, and that'd be handy. Now, basically, you don't need any racial points. I just happen to have 15 racial points because I'm one of those scrubs that gives the game a lot of money. The shifter tree is kind of cool. It's got some strength in there and some stuff to make your rage last longer. Another good race for this would obviously be Aasimar, because they are the master race. They get like a 10 melee power boost in their racial tree if you can afford it, even though it's quite expensive. Half Orc would probably be the next best, or actually probably the best race to do it, because the Half Orc racial tree is incredibly powerful for anything that is 200 fighting or Barbarian. Basically, like all those bonuses in that tree are great. So there you go. It's 3 races you can run this build in, depending on if you want to level from level 1 or 15. But as I said, I'm lazy, so I run from 15. The Frenzied Berserker tree, I think it is the best for dealing damage at the kind of end game or raid kind of setting. So what I've done here, as you can see, I've got the Cracking Attack and Crazy Strike, which makes Cracking Attack give you a bit of a melee power boost when you use it. Alright, you've got obviously your 3 cores that you can afford there. Extra action boost, so you have more haste boost, because that's fucking mad. I took Con here, for whatever reason. I think that's all you can take. I've got Tantrum here, which is a cleave. You don't really need it because, well, like I said, basically just attacking raid bosses. But in saying that, sometimes you will just need to clear trash in raids, so Tantrum isn't too bad. This Raging Blows here, I believe it comes with a healing component. Like, you can choose between a healing component or the damage component, and for leveling, I may have taken the healing component. And also, while leveling, I took Blood Tribute, because it's incredibly powerful while leveling, let's be honest. And that was how I kept myself alive through the heal from the other version of this, which I think is called Accelerated Metabolism. While Barbarian Raging, you gain 20 heal amp and heal 3d6 points every 4 seconds. That scales with melee power, but remember, while leveling, you have very low melee power, and you also, if you're running on Reaper, your heal gets affected by that, comes down, so it's not the best heal. Better than nothing. A better heal would be running in the Ravager tree over here, and I think it is called Blood Strength. When you kill something, you get 20 hit points, scaling with melee power, and I believe that is not reduced by Reaper damage. So if you are leveling this build, feel free to run in Ravager. Feel free to just like do whatever you want, basically, but I'll keep going through what I've done specifically. So you spend your 35 points in that tree, probably spend like 34, I guess you could. You want the Focused Wrath here, which is a competence bonus to your crit multi. That's the big selling point of the tier 5 in the Frenzied Berserker, I think, and why a lot of people get to that. Now, the Nature's Warrior here. So each core gives you a bit of sneak damage, like 1 die, which is good. So you've got 3 cores there. Moving up, you can see a lot of it is kind of crap, so it's hard to take it because you're like, oh, this sucks. This isn't too good, but the flight dodge click is pretty handy. I use that if you ever get aggro of a boss or something that you can't handle, or just in any pack of mobs. The one above that is +3 base melee damage while in Bearer Wolf. That's kind of cool. And then it gives you enough points to get up here for the Ferocity, which gives you melee power, and then it doubles it if you're raging. So that's 12 melee power there for 3 points. I know you basically have to spend 20 to get to it, but melee power is like super important for this kind of build. You want to max your melee power, because I'm pretty sure the math is something like once you're over 100 damage on your character sheet, you basically want to just go for melee power, because it's going to be more damage than getting like another damage item, if that makes sense. If not, there's going to be people way better than me at the math that can help you figure it out. Fatal Harrier here gives you a 5% enhancement bonus to your attack speed when you kill something, I'm pretty sure. I just couldn't fit it in, and I found like I wasn't really killing heaps of stuff when I was doing boss DPS, so I was like, I don't know if it's really worth it, so I haven't taken it, but some people could argue maybe you do take it. Moving on to the Vistani Knife Fighter tree. A lot of people take it for the haste boost and the 5% double strike in the 3rd core. So that's a mistake by me. I probably should have gotten that, but I've gotten the deflect arrows from the 2nd core there. It's a pretty handy tree to splash in just for haste boost. Remembering you can get haste boost from your Destiny tree if you want. Now, in the Nature's Protector tree here, which is like the tanky tree, this Nature's Defensive stance here is good because it gives you some MRR, and fuck, the worst thing about this build, as you guys will see shortly, is the saves. So it gives you some HP and some resistances, and also here, Primal Beast 2, when using a Barbarian Rage, you get 10 melee power. As I said, melee power is kind of the name of the game with a lot of these builds. I think melee power scales even your sneak attack damage, which is pretty cool. because we're trying to squeeze out as much damage as possible. And then the next one here, we've just got the 3 points in Divine Might. If you're an incredibly organized player, you only need to put 2 points into Divine Might because then it lasts a minute, which is the same as your Frenzy. So every time you use Frenzy, you can swap over to your like Charisma or Wisdom item, then use your Divine Might, then go back to damaging things. But I'm a bit lazy, so I've just gotten the 3rd tier, so it's 2 minutes. Very cool. And that's basically the enhancements. Now, for the destinies, I'm running in Fate Singer because every time you see one of those fucking awesome gifts on the main boards and it's really high damage, they're always using the Fate Singer buff, Turn of the Tide, right? That's where you get huge damage from. The other argument is obviously Fury of the Wild, so it's up to you. I think Fury of the Wild and the Bear with adrenaline hits is probably better for running like R10 content or maybe even questing. It depends what you're into. Also, Legendary Dreadnought has its bonuses as well. But this is a part that I think sometimes it's good to just pick your playstyle, what you like to do. But if you really do need to know why I picked Fate Singer, it's basically because I took all the strength things. There's a couple of good bits and pieces in here. There's your Martial Hymn, and there is Turn of the Tide. Also, this tree gives a lot of melee power now, which, as I said, is what the build is about. For the twists here, it's unlikely that a lot of new people have all their twists unlocked. I don't think I even have all the fate points you can get. But I took Symmetric Strikes because it's 5% bonus damage. Meld because, you get into a sticky situation. If you don't think you need Meld and you can put something else in there, fucking go for it. Got Improved Power Attack and Dance of Flowers. That's just a little bit of increased damage. Legendary Tactics because I thought I needed to get my Stunning DC up. Could probably drop that for a whole plethora of things like your Energy Sheath as you need it, or maybe you want to round out some Strength or Con. Boom. No fucking worries. Now the hardest part, gearing, and I gear quite lazily, as everyone probably knows by now. That's my setup there, and I'll go through it for what I've done and why. The mine artifact is the brand of Kalok Shash, which we've talked about in the past. It has quality accuracy and quality deadly. Having it both on one item is cool. There is other items that have it, but I just tried to get it here because, like I said, I was being a bit lazy. I've also got the Summer Cloak here, right? And that's got strength anyway, so what are you fucking doing? I'm an idiot. But that's got Insightful Strength and Double Strike, very cool. Cornerstone Champion here. Now, that's just, I've said this before, I just have this item, that's why I use it. The belt you should probably be using here is the Belt of Sure Strikes, which is from the Gatekeeper's Quests. I've mentioned it before, it's a quite good item. Reason being, in this case, is it gives you your magic resistance rating, gives some quality combat mastery. What else does it give? Let's have a squiz over here on the other screen. It gives 10 insight to your Seeker. That's pretty cool. And also quality accuracy. So the quality accuracy of here could be on your Belt of Sure Strikes, which you would put here. The Ring of Prowess here has the melee power +8, or plus more if you've got a Mythic Reaper. That's basically non-negotiable because, like I said, we want to get as much melee power as possible. It also has the accuracy and the deadly. If you don't have the accuracy and the deadly anywhere else, it's there. Granted, those numbers are lower than what is current and what is new. I think you can get 36 accuracy and 17 damage on things now. That's a little bit there if you were wanting to squeeze that in. With the armor, medium armor of the family set, and obviously the family set comes with the necklace and the gloves. You can also use the raid necklace, but then it changes where your double strike is. It changes where your armor piercing has to go, and if you want to look into that stuff, it's a little bit more technical, but you've just got to re-gear a little bit and think about those things. I'm running at the moment the Echo of Ravenkind. It's basically my con item, my true seeing item, but I think it's probably best to run the artifact trinket that drops in the Lord of Blades raid, which is called Quarry Infused Core. I believe it's got con on it. It's got some insightful magic resistance from memory, and I believe it gives you blindness, immunity, and true seeing. So what that does is that means you can get rid of your this brand of Kalok Shash here, put your trinket and con item there, and then that opens the braces for the Devil Scale braces, and then that is another raid item, but I don't have them. Oh, feels bad. Must have deleted them. So Devil Scale braces instead of that, if you go down that path. Then also, before we get too excited here, Titania's Glory, which, like I've said in the past, it's my favorite item, right? It's got the 10 melee power. That's all I'm using it for. It's only because I'm really trying to squeeze every bit of melee power out of it. And I know there's another helm from Feywild that has melee power on it. You can use that as well. If you don't have these, or you're lacking Insightful Strength, there is other helms you can use. these are ideas. You don't have to use this exact gear set, but I've done it to squeeze as much strength and melee power as I can. Also, the goggles here, legendary Tinkerer's goggles. Tinkerer's goggles. Good speaking. So legendary Tinkerer's goggles, right? They have the insightful deception and the quality deception, which is bonus to your sneak, hit, and sneak damage. Now, with the way melee power affects sneak damage, this is a lot of damage. The character sheet might say like 11d6 plus 49 or whatever, but in reality, it's like a lot more than that when you scale it all out. So, have a look here. We've got sneak die 12d6 plus 49 damage. That's a lot of damage. And when you scale it out by like 250, 350, 400 melee power, it's huge. I can get like over 1,000 sneak damage, which I think is pretty good. So yeah, that's it. Boots, legendary deep snow. It's just probably not the best boots to have, but it's just so good for getting your 2 cons and your FOMs. It's just easy, and like I said, lazy, and sometimes I do lazy gearing. Now for the ring here, I've got the Lionheart ring, and I've told you guys in the past, it's another lazy item. It's got your stunning and your action boost enhancement and blah blah blah. But you should, if you're going to run this build and optimize it to the best of your ability, I think your second ring slot is where you're going to put a Slaver's item. And a Slaver's item is incredibly flexible. As you know, you could probably put stuff on it like resistance. This build has no saves. You can put stunning on it. Quality strength if you don't have quality strength anywhere. Or maybe you've got no con item because you don't have the other trinket I was talking about. You can put your con there. So I think a Slaver's as your second ring, just to round out what you need, is very handy. But something else you've got to make sure you have is deception somewhere. So I've got deception on my belt to the deception 18. That base deception will stack with the insightful deception and the quality deception, right? You want to make sure you've got all those, so you're doing fucking max sneak attack dips, boys. Now, when you're coming into a battle or like a fucking pack of mobs or whatever, what I basically do is, there's so many boosts here, so it's hard to manage it all, but I've got a Bloodbark Braces swap, which gives you 3 extra damage, 3 extra strength rather, when you rage. And so you hit your rage, cheering, mate, go back to that. That's one weapon swap there. It's already getting annoying. Got my Fury, Frenzy, whatever. You can drink your strength pot. Probably do that a bit earlier. Got my Sneak of Shadows here, which is a past life rogue. If you don't have that, fuck, just take a toughness, basically. Then I'm going to swap to my Charisma item. Bump my Charisma up. Hit my Divine Might. Gives me a little bit of attack and damage and DCs. And then also you've got dodge clickers if you need to hit him going into a fight. Got your Marshal him. Ram's Might, Rain, and you've got your Turn of the Tide, and make sure you've got your haste boost, and you're starting to hit stuff and damage. Like, if you watch those GIFs that people upload, they're probably doing a lot more. I'm only getting like, well, as you can see, 1800s and the odd crit for 7,000. So that's not the best damage, but obviously it's just in an environment with I'm not getting sneak damage. There's no debuffs being applied, yada yada yada. All right. So, you may be wondering, well, what are you doing with your filigrees? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'll show you right now. So filigrees are kind of the end game way to set your build up to another level, right? If you have a 9-slotted fucking sentient item, you're a god, or you've got too much money and time on your hands, the filigrees you want are basically your 5-piece prowess. This is non-negotiable, I think, in a DPS setup. But if you can get this prowess into another item, that's cool, that's up to you. Then you can just use these 5 slots for more melee power filigrees, but I don't have the second item at 150. So, prowess, all 5 pieces in the weapon. Then I've got a Sucker Punch, plus 2 strength from like your threads. I've got Treachery, 2 pieces. One is a melee power rare. Remembering if you have a melee power and it is a rare filigree, you get plus 5 melee power. That's fucking very cool. I have threat reduction here. That's 50% threat reduction because you don't want aggro because you're actually a glass cannon, right? I've got a Long Shadow melee power rare here because the more melee power the merrier. That's what we are all about in this build. And coming over here, there's another Sucker Punch, one against many, strength plus 2. So if you have the plus 2 on here and the plus 2 on the weapon, even though they're the same, because they're on different things, they stack for now. Also got a Sucker Punch melee power here. And the other part of a Long Shadow, which is melee power again. So that's 2 melee powers, the same, from Long Shadow, but one's on the artifact, one is on the weapon. You shouldn't get banned for doing this, everyone's doing it. Alright, you jump in and check what your set bonuses are. You've got your 5-piece prowess, 3 pieces of Sucker Punch, a bit more sneak damage, Treachery 2-piece for more melee power. Long Shadow, more melee power. So it's all about that melee power. Now, all my buffs and boosts and shit are gone. My melee power is only 271. Not amazing. A lot of room for growth there. If you're a better build than me, I'm sure you can get it higher. And there is other ways to get your melee power up. And also, like I said, you can also jump into your bear form. Remember, it runs slower, it attacks slower, but it does have strike through. So you can attack more than one mob at a time, which is very cool. But in saying that, one interesting thing will be that your strike through, well, only up to 140. So you can see where I tried to get around that, getting a bit extra strike through for leveling from doing that shit in the barbarian tree. Not that I recommend that. Alright, so that's basically the build. If you've got any questions, there's always the DDO Discord, and a lot of people on there know what they're talking about. Some don't, so you've got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to be told to fuck off. And I just wanted to make this video because I'm going to TR into a viewer requested build. I hope you guys didn't think I was going to just show you a build without showing you how it performs as well. So, let's see how it goes here. If we ever get off our fucking asses.
Let me know if you're popping off.
Popping now.
Let's see, did I get everything?
There you go, nearly 8k. Yeah, we broke 8k.
Sick. Oh, that's very nice.